Never really done something like this before, but before we get into the video, just like to say thank you to everybody that liked, commented, subscribed after watching my last video. I don't I don't really know.
I just wanted to say thanks. I'm glad you came along, partner.
So this takes place back when I was in high school. It was 11th grade, and just for some exposition before we dwell into like the main story, I used to skip class a lot. So I spent a good amount of time in ISS, but I'd also sometimes just flat out leave the school entirely. And I didn't even have a car at the time, so I was usually just walking everywhere around town. But my older sister lived only a few miles from my school, and quite often I'd leave the school and go there to get high, and usually end up playing Mortal Kombat 11. And on one of those days, I decided to stop at the gas station just down the road to get a drink and some snacks. And as I'm starting to walk towards the gas station, this gray Camry pulls up next to me. And in the moment, I was like, "What the fuck? Who, who are you? And why the fuck are you parking right in front of me in the road?" But then they rolled down their window, and I realized it was actually the lady who ran ISS, like the teacher who would sit in there. And I'm gonna refer to her as Hillary from now on. So now I'm like, well, fuck. I I guess I'm going right back to school, huh? And on top of that, probably going to detention. But for some reason, instead, she asked me if I needed a ride somewhere. She said that she sees me walking this way often, to which I was totally shocked. Like, I was totally expecting to be brought back to school, because I had been seen walking by the school's officers and other teachers, and they've always stopped to bring me back. But Hillary didn't seem to give a fuck. So I was like, yeah, my sister lives over on 8th Street. And the most unexpected shit hits me. As soon as I open her car door, I get the strangest smell. It was a really overwhelming smell of weed. Like, it just hit me a second I opened up her door. But she worked at my school, she's a teacher. Obviously, I didn't want to say anything because that would be like snitching on myself almost. But we started driving, and as soon as we started going through the roundabout just down the road, she's like, "Alright, I'm sure you can smell it, but don't tell anyone. You cannot tell anyone." And I looked at her like, "What? What? Say what? Say what about what? What?" I was just playing stupid as hell. But then she reached into her center console and pulled out like the tiniest little bowl. And then her grinder was even smaller too. Like it was like pocket size shit. And she looks at me and says, "Do you smoke?" And I was just sitting there in her passenger seat, nervous as fuck, like, um, yeah. And I don't know, like looking back on it, I definitely sounded like I had never fucking smoked before, but I was just nervous as hell because like I'd never been in a situation like that. It felt almost surreal. She had already taken a few hits out of the bowl and she had passed it to me, but quickly pulled it back and asked if I was 18, to which I told her I was. But I ain't gonna front. I was only 17 at the time, and it's not like that. I was turning 18 in 3 months, so it wasn't, and it's not like I was, I don't know, it was terrible that she was offering it weed to a student anyways. I'm not the bad one here. But anyway, she passed it to me, and I took a puff. It wasn't even that bad. Like, to be honest, I was half tempted to ask for her plug, but I decided against it. So we just kept driving towards my sister's and smoking. And by the time we had gotten to my sister's place, we had realized that the entire car was filled with smoke. So my sister sees this random Camry roll into her driveway, and she comes out yelling like, "What the fuck? Who the fuck? Like, what's like?" She was just confused as shit. And so I popped out of the passenger seat, smoke rolling out the door. I felt like a total badass, and all I was thinking was, "Wow, I really just got smoked up by my teacher." But yeah, I don't know. There's no real moral or real ending to this story, I guess. To be honest, I'm pretty sure I just ended up going inside and smoking with my sister, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, shitty ending, but who do you know that smoked with their teacher? I bet you can't even name one. Yeah. That's it. See ya.